When I started this platform, I tried to decide what I wanted my platform to be, and I had decided books. But the more things that happen, the more I realize I need to speak up. And the only way to do that is to tell my story. This video will probably never get viral or be seen by millions of people, but the biggest thing is just to make sure if I can touch one person, that's all I ask for, is to touch one person that will know that they're not alone. There's lots of triggers here, guys, so be prepared. I was 3 with my first memory, and my dad was in the backyard in a lawn chair. He was wearing a polo shirt that had a crocodile on it. He was wearing aviator glasses, cut off jean shorts, holding a Coors Light. My brother was playing in the sandbox. Sorry, bub. That's the first time he did anything to me. It continued, and when I was 8, I realized that things weren't right. I always had to go on rides with them. Another reason why I will never own a Ford again. Sorry, bub. When I was 12, I told somebody for the first time at a slumber party. Talk about bringing the mood down, right? It took me hours to get the words out. When I was 15, my brother found my diaries and he told our mother. And as he was laying face down in the front yard, we lived in the middle of nowhere. Our house was built in the middle of the woods and there was hundreds of acres around us. My mom left. She left us there. She just left. A few days later, it was Memorial Day, and she had come to get me because I was staying with a friend, and we sat around the kitchen table and talked about it like a family, like a normal conversation that you would have around the kitchen table. That was intense. At one point, my mom looked across the table at me and said that it was my choice whether we stayed or left. And then my dad said that he would unalive himself if she left him and took his children, who he obviously didn't care about, considering he beat the shit out of my brother every opportunity that he had. Never mind what he did to me. So, knowing that my mom couldn't support us and being 15 and not knowing what else to do, I said that we would stay. Talk about a guilt trip, right? When I was 19, I got pregnant with my daughter, and my mom told me she was divorcing my dad, and I said, why now? Seriously, like, you've stayed with them, you know everything. And yeah, I bought my first house when I was 20, and when I was 21, I started to kind of lose it, and I had to take a leave of absence from work, and I was in depression, but I didn't realize I was depressed. I had never been to the doctor, never had any therapy. We were told to suck it up and walk it off. We never went to the doctor. So at 2 o'clock in the morning one night, it dawned on me as I was scrubbing my kitchen floor with a toothbrush that my daughter was getting ready to turn 3, and that was my trigger. And that was when I had my first nervous breakdown. Actually, it was my only nervous breakdown, I think. I don't know. I could be having them all the time and not realize it, right? I was put on, I think Prozac, I don't know. I was put on something, and it helped a lot. I was put on something. I was told that I had severe PTSD, obviously, and severe depression. And at one point they told me I could be bipolar, but then later they were like, no, that's not it. So I don't know. I don't think I am. I don't really have those symptoms, but I think that anybody that's been in these situations probably do have ups and downs, which might be the reason why at that time they diagnosed me like that. My mom lived with us off and on because she couldn't support herself. And at one time, she moved back in with my dad. And he came and took her stuff, and I stopped talking to them completely for a while. Until I got a typed letter one day that my dad had met a woman. She worked at Walmart as a cashier, and she had a 7-year-old daughter. So at that point, I guess my mom and dad had broke up again. And I lost it and went to his house, and I stood in the front yard where my little brother had at one point been face down, and I told him if he didn't answer his door, he wasn't gonna like what I was going to say. And he came out and he told me it wasn't gonna be like that, and he swore on everything, and I said, I'll ruin your life. I called the police. I tried to see what I could do, but statute of limitations, I know laws are changing now, but at that time they weren't. A couple years later, I was trying to stay in contact with him mostly so I could make sure that the little girl wasn't hurt. And at this point, I had a half sister, and I was there for her second birthday party. And I was working on a car with my dad. If he did anything, he made me have to do stuff. I know how to work on cars. I know how to fix things around the house, all of it. And I looked across the car and I said, "Are you being stupid?" I don't know how else to put it. That's just what I said. And he was like, "Why would I do that? She has 7 brothers." And I said, "You would never have to worry about the brothers, would you?" I'll hold to my promise that I made on Memorial Day when I was 15. You don't have to worry about them. You have to worry about me. But I knew it. I knew it in my gut, and I didn't want to admit it, though. And I became that little girl that makes me sick. It makes me sick that I was weak. But you are. You're still, at some point, you're still a victim, and I hate that word. I hate it. I hate the word victim. I hate the word survivor. I hate all those labels. They drive me insane. But I was, and I didn't know how to work with that. So I didn't see him over Thanksgiving, and I didn't go on my birthday, and I didn't go over Christmas. And on New Year's, his wife called me. Yeah, she called me and she told me that I was hurting my father because I wasn't returning his calls and I wasn't there for these holidays and whatever else she said to me. And I told her, leave me the fuck alone. Friday the 13th, February 2009, I got a DUI because I was on a downward spiral again. And I had so much guilt. I knew it. I knew it in my heart. I knew it. And I got pulled over in my driveway. Fun place, right? It took me to the police station, and I had to have somebody come get me. And I knew nobody's number, and my husband was not going to come get me. He wasn't. And the only number I knew was my dad's. And I called him, and he came and got me. And I lost it in the lobby at the police station. Told him he was the reason I was there. Told him that he deserved to be arrested. He deserved to be there. They thought it was just because I was drunk. He took me home, which was only a block. They could have just let me walk home. And he told me that he asked me if I was going to be safe going inside my own home with my husband. My husband was just mad that I got a DUI. That was it. He was justified in his frustration. And I looked at him and I said, I've been safe since the day I left your house. This has to go on to a part 2, and I really hope that you go to hear the rest of this story of how he unalived himself.